Annie here again. Week kind of 2 of our video. I'm gonna try to get these out as often as I can for you so you know what's going on in the classroom and what we did each week. So we'll talk again about the books that we read this week. These were kind of the 3 big, we read lots of books, but these were the 3 biggest books from this week. So we have 10 Flashing Fireflies. We've had a lot of focus this week on numeracy and counting numbers 1 to 10 and counting down from 10. So 10 Flashing Fireflies was just about kids in the summer catching fireflies in the nighttime, and it slowly went from 1 to 10 in the jar and from 10 to 1 in the sky. So we looked at this book, which was awesome. We took a look at When God Made You. It's a beautiful book with beautiful illustrations. The kids were really quite in awe with the illustrations, and we spent a lot of time talking about them. And it's all about how God made you just the way you were. He had a plan before you were ever born, and he made every child perfect in their own way with their own passions, their own interests, from every strand on their head to every toe on their foot. You were made by God. So the kids really enjoyed that. And the reason we're starting to look at this is because after Thanksgiving, we're going to do a few projects on what makes us beautiful, what makes us unique. The next book we kind of focused on this week was God Made the Seasons. We're continuing to talk about the different seasons, fall, winter, spring, summer. We really focused in on comparing and contrasting fall versus, or summer versus fall, sorry. Comparing and contrasting is very important at this level and any level really, and it works on the kids' language building and communication. So we did a lot of comparing and contrasting. So you could ask your child at home, what do we notice in the summer versus the fall? What kind of changes happen? Then we had our focus bin work this week, so let's take a look. I'll just let you take a look. The kids with me, we worked on cutting out basic shapes, coloring, and sorting. During this assessment, I was looking at the children's grasp, their pencil grasp, their ability to color, and then their cutting skills. So it told me kind of a lot about the students' occupational therapy and where they're at there. Another bin the students did this week was they had to, using the string, they had to string words. They had like a word bank to choose from, and they could string their name. And then for students who were able to, they wrote the words that they created in the book in their journal, so that was great. They did a great job with that activity. Another focus bin that they looked at was handwriting without tears. So using chalkboards, the students worked on their letters and letter sounds, and again, forming proper letters. And lastly, we did a roll and build for math. So what the students had to do was they had to roll their dice, count, okay, we'll just put it on 6, count their number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it was 1-to-1 correspondence, and then they had to build it out of their cubes, 4, 5, 6, and then they had to find the number 6 on their placemat and build their tower. So they actually really enjoyed doing this, and we worked on counting numbers 1 to 6, but that kind of 1-to-1 correspondence, and relating the numeral to the physical objects. What else can I tell you? This week we worked in art. We did a fall tree. So the students got to use oil pastels for the coloring in the trunk and the branches. They did some tissue paper work, and then they got to paint it using Q-tips. It was a 3-step process, and they did a wonderful job with them. And the reason for that is we're working on the 6 stars of cutting. So I could take a picture of this and send it to you guys parents. So number 1, thumb in the loop, little loop. Number 2, thumbs up. 3, we always cut away from our body. 4, no chicken wings. We're really working on using our guiding hand to turn the paper instead of having our elbow come up with our scissors. 5, that was steering with the helper hand. And 6, staying on the line when we're cutting. And they did a great job with that. What else? This week we looked at letter B. Uppercase and lowercase letter B, and how to properly form it. I taught my students we always go down the slide, and then we use a big curve into the middle and another big curve to the bottom. And they know, and they can tell you at home, that our in the middle, the lines have to kiss, we say, or they have to touch. And then lowercase b, going down the slide, and we do a half circle from the middle to the bottom. So that's, if you're working on your homework this weekend, that's the language we use with the students. And then again, the letter sounds. B says B, baby, ball, B. I like to play a game with the kids. I'll say, okay, students, what starts with the letter B? Apple or baby? And they have to tell me. That's a great thing you guys can play in the car, or when you're making dinner, when you're just hanging out with your students to help them with those initial sounds and words. Homework did go home this week again. We're working on pre-printing skills still, and the letter B. And if you want, I also slipped in some of the kids' books review of the letter A. They did a much better job this week in their green journals here on the letter B. So I'm really proud of the students, and obviously you guys did your work at home, which is wonderful. Thank you. Next Monday, just so you're aware, a reminder, it's Orange Shirt Day, so send your kid to school in an orange shirt or orange pants or something orange. And then I thought too it would be fun, a couple of activities I realized the kids really enjoyed this week, especially for this one, my girls a lot. I print for the kids like blank faces with just different hairstyles, and they love to fill in the faces because that's one of the things, that's a big outcome in kindergarten is, well, one, they're working on fine motor, they're coloring, they're drawing, but looking at the faces and what do we have on our face, again, the eyelashes, the eyebrows, nose, lips, ears, and really working on details in a picture, and that the more we add and the more color we add, the better our pictures look. So this is kind of an easy thing to do at home that the kids really enjoyed. And one other thing I really love doing with my students, it's fun and you could do it at home, Miss Ward, I'll bring you to the smart board. Is in the mornings when the students come in, we always kind of play a little game. I'll put whatever letter we're working on, whether it's A or B, the last 2 weeks. Next week will be letter C. But I put the uppercase on the top and lowercase on the bottom, and the kids get to come up and they have to tell me which ones were formed properly. So, for example, this letter B, they would come up and they would circle because it had proper formation. I went down the slide and I had a bump from the top to the middle and the middle to the bottom. They might circle, this one would be another good one, and lastly this one. And then we talk about, why are the other ones not proper B's? Well, this one we say is flying in the sky and it's way too small. This one, the bump's too big at the top, and this one again.
This is Texan. There's a call for you on 760.
And this one again is flying in the sky. We didn't go down the slide, and we didn't start at the top to bottom and add 2 bumps. And we do the same thing for the lowercase. This is a proper lowercase b. And we talk about, again, why is it formed correctly versus some of the other ones that wouldn't be. And I always do, just for ease, I do 3 at the bottom and 3 at the top that are formed correctly. But the kids love coming up, and then I allow them to do it during free play. They can use my smartboard for practice as well. So that's about it, parents. We had another great week. I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to be looking a lot at Thanksgiving, what we're thankful for, looking into more about what our interests and passions are. We're going to be focusing in on patterning next week for numeracy, and again, numbers 1 to 10. And literacy, we're going to keep going with our letters. So if you could get the homework done this weekend, that'd be great. And I'll see everyone next week. Thank you.